Hello, welcome to SCL1 TNO Knitting Project. My name is Sharon and I'm coming to you from Surrey in the UK, where I live with my family, 3 cats and a dog. This is episode 90, scary, and today is Thursday the 15th of April 2021. Welcome if you are a new viewer, welcome back if you're a returning viewer. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is my podcast all about my crafting things that I do. It's mainly knitting this week. I've got a little bit of journaling in Happy Mail, but that's it. Yeah, so this is all about my knitting rotation, which is the way I get through my whips, which if you saw last week's episode, you'll have seen I've had quite a few FOs. This week, not so much. This week's really been quite a normal week. I've had a busy work week, but otherwise it's been kind of normal. So this is like a normal podcast, if there is such a thing for me. Who knew? Anyway, so let's go straight into admin. So admin, the podcast has a Ravelry group and a Mighty Networks group that isn't actually live yet because I haven't finished sorting it out. I keep saying every week I will try and get to it this week. Next week I will definitely try to get to it. Hopefully my work week should be a little bit quieter, so I might have more time after work to do it, so I won't be working late. We have 2 knit-alongs going on at the moment. We have the Square a Day Cal, which is where we are knitting a small part of a bigger project or multiple projects each day. So I am currently doing a Christmas granny square blanket, which you'll see later on. We have just had the first check-in for March, which is 90 whatevers you're doing. So if you were doing a northeasterly, it'd be 90 little sections. If you're doing a pinwheel, it will be 90 little pinwheels. If you're doing a granny stripe, it's 90 stripes. If you're doing a granny square, I was chatting to someone who is doing a granny square, and we're going to say each side, and then when it gets really big, it's going to be half a side because they take forever. I know, I've just finished one. There is a quilt going on, which is super exciting. So anything like that. Basically just message me if you're not sure, because I don't think I've ever refused anybody yet. So that's the Square a Day, and we've got the Stripy Sock Cow. So this month's dyes for extra entries are Giddy Yarns, King Cole and Lollipop Yarn. So if you're using any of those yarns, you may have 2 entries. If you're not using those yarns, brilliant, you can still put enter, you just get 1. Then the God, I have completely lost my train of thought. That's not, yeah, okay. Don't know where I was going with that sentence. Never mind. Whips are allowed. That's where I was going with that. Whips are allowed. So if you didn't finish your March socks, you can, of course, can add them into the April thread. And vice versa. If you don't finish your April socks, they can go into May. I personally haven't started my April socks yet, so that's going to happen. I'm looking like I'm going to be at least 1 dyer behind each section, and chances are at the rate I'm going, possibly 2 very shortly. So on that note, should we have a look at May? May is going to be my lovely friend Lone, who is a lonely sock lady, Zalba Ball for the commercial. Now Zalba Balls have a habit of being very large colour blocks. That's fine if you're using a Zalba Ball and it does that. Just to stick the tag in the photo so I know it's a Zalba Ball. The crazy Zalba Balls tend to have smaller sections, but a normal Zalba Ball can have a longer like colour block, but it's fine. And Strawberry Fields, who does some lovely self-striping. I have got both Lone and Strawberry Fields, so I mean I would never be able to knit 2, but I mean I've got Zalba Balls as well, so I could do all 3, but that's never going to happen. So next week I will probably fish out the yarn I'm going to use for May, but at the moment I haven't started April, so we won't do that. Okay, so that's the cows we've got running. I have also I'm wearing a really old hand knit. Now this is the, I think it's not the rose hip. I thought it was the rose hip, but it's not. I can't remember what it's called. It's from the Rowan Summer Tweed book, and it was knit in pieces. It's got the sleeves over the years have grown dramatically, so I've had to roll them up. I'm actually thinking about just ripping them out and just casting them off a bit shorter. But I really like this, and it's knit in Rowan All Seasons cotton, which is the same gauge as their summer tweed, so you can alternate the patterns for both. But this was out of the Rowan summer tweed book. If I can find my book, which I think I know it might be, I will try and put the pattern name down below. If it's not there, I didn't find it. But I'm having to wear cotton at the moment because, this is the other thing I was going to say, my neck looks a bit red. I've got some anxiety dermatitis, which I don't get very often, but when I've had a super stressful time, I do. I've never had it on my neck before. I normally get it on the backs of my hands. So that was new. But it does mean I can't wear wool at the moment, which is a small problem when I knit garments. But I can use, this is cotton, so I can wear cotton. I'm hoping it will go away very soon, so yeah, please excuse. And it's the reason why I haven't got my normal sort of full face makeup on. I'm going quite light with all this going on, so I wouldn't mind, but I'm not stressed now. I was stressed, and you know, that's fine. This happened after everything had finished. It's like, oh, you haven't got any stress anymore, so let's give you some more. But yeah, I'm trying to avoid using hydrocortisone cream because I don't like using it, but I woke up in the middle of the night scratching, so I'm thinking I might have to. That was way too much information, wasn't it? Let's move on to the actual knitting. So day one is socks, and I actually have an FO for my socks this week. It's the only FO I've got, but I have finished my April socks for the Rainbow Chronicles, which is a knit along being run by Jules of So Sweet Violet and Kelly of Les Family Yarns. Yeah. I like these. I haven't made these as scrappy as I made the other socks because I'm finding that I've just not got enough time to sew in all the ends. Now, I'm a willing end weaver. I do not mind sewing in ends, but I'm just finding that it's taking a bit too much time out of my actual knitting time. So what I did with these was I've cast on a 1x1 rib, which is really unusual for me, but we're going with it. So I did a 1x1 rib, knit most of the mini, and then helical knitted in the next one, so it's got some slight striping there. Can we see that? Some slight striping. And then when I got to this point here, I actually cut off this one, so I've only got I've got a tiny bit left. And then I did the heel flap gusset, and then when I got here, you can't see it, but I helical knitted these two colours, so that one is actually a different colour to that one, and I helical knitted those two together, but you can't really see the stripes. At least you can't on camera. You can a little bit in real life, but you definitely can't. I wonder if I show you that side, whether it's stripier. No, not really. So you can't really see it in real life. So I did that, and then so this has got 1, 2, this has got 3 10-gram minis in. So that's that one, and then you can see it a bit better on this one. I should have used this one as the example, really. So I cast on using that one, helical knitted that. Right, so that bit there is the remainder of that toe. So I helical knitted that in, and then I run out on the heel flap, so I then put in this next one, and that was just a join. And then I helical knitted, I knit most of this one and then helical knitted that in and put that in. So I've got some leftovers from that one and some leftovers from this one. But there's 4 different minis in this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's amazing, isn't it, how when you helical knit something, it changes the colour, because that is that colour, but it looks a bit lighter. So that's what I did with those, and I'm tempted to do that with the next pair too, because there was a lot less ends to weave in. And also, when you helical knit it in, the way you do it, which is the jogless join, Grace of Babel's Travelling Yarns has got a tutorial on it. It means you've only got one end to sew in on the joins, which makes it slightly less bulky when you're sewing in your ends, which is nice for socks. So even when I'm doing scrappy socks, I might consider helical knitting. I don't know. I may try to experiment on that for my May Rainbow Chronicle socks and see how I get on. And if I get on with it, I might show you lot how I did it. Not that I do tutorials, I just show you what I do. But yeah, so that's my April socks. So they're washed and blocked. I just need to take their photograph now, and then they will join my other socks in my box of socks, which I will show you at some point, but not today. So that was my first pair of socks. Now my second pair of socks I'm working on. So this is hanging out in my Kelly bag. Lovely Kelly made this for me. And these are my entry for my cowl. So these are so this was the entry for March. So these are my Desert Vista Dye Works ones. So that's the one you saw last week that was finished. I haven't done my ends yet. And then I was there where that little rainbow is. That little rainbow should really be on my Rainbow Chronicle socks, but hey ho, I will swap it over. It doesn't want to behave, does it? There we go. No, that way. Just stay there. Little rainbow. So that's where I was, and I have done all of the leg, turned the heel, and in actual fact I'm on the last bit before the toe, so I've nearly got these ones finished as well. But yeah, I really like this. This is Desert Vista Dye Works in Zombody is not in Kansas anymore, and I just adore this. I mean, it's a shame she's an American dyer because it makes it very expensive to get hold of her yarn, but wow, she does some good self-striping. Laura of the Lonely Knitter podcast was showing hers this week, and I adore her colourway too. I was like, oh, I want that one too. Not that I haven't got enough self-striping yarn, I hasten to add, but I am a sucker for a self-striping yarn, which is where this cowl started in the first place. And I honestly do think we'll probably carry it on into next year. I'm enjoying this cowl. The two cowls together are quite fun cowls, aren't they? I may have the odd spot cowl from time to time. I'm not going to do the May Mini Madness this year, just because there is enough going on at the moment. I may do one later on in the year with minis. I'm thinking about possibly doing it from December to the end of January, because the stripy sock cowl wraps up in December, as does the square a day. Now the square a day will carry on into January, but I won't do the stripy sock cowl for January next year. I will only do it over 11 months. That said, of course, then that gives us January to catch up all those whips of socks that we've got outstanding. So I may do a mini one for that, which will take into Advent, account Advent. Well, that's where I was going with that. Brought it back around in the end. Anyway, that is day one, socks. So day two is shawl day, and that is hanging out in my lovely bag from Busy Pottering. It's my Hoggy bag, and I love this bag. And it's got a lovely little hedgehog on it. As a zipper pull, which is from Catherine Daniel Ceramics. And I love this. And this is my Maytham shawl number 2. Well, it's actually number 1. And I realised last week when I was editing this back that I didn't explain the story of the Maytham shawl. Now, I cast this on, I think, in 2018. And it went missing. I took it camping with me, and I couldn't find it. And I honestly thought somehow I'd managed to throw it out somewhere. But when I was tidying out my craft room last year, when we first went into the pandemic and it was going to be used as an office, I found it in my bedding bag from camping, which actually makes sense that it would be in there. So just in case you can't remember, that is the Maytham shawl. Now this is the 2-colour version. I did a multicoloured version one, which you've just seen finished. This is the 2-coloured version, and I'm doing a 2-coloured version. So what I am doing is, this is such a mess, you're going to have to bear with me. Oh, I really don't know how it's done this. So this is my first yarn. I might have to leave this and do this after the podcast. So this is my first yarn. This is called Enchanted Garden, and is by Hedgerow Yarns. So there we go. That's her logo. And it's superwash, 80% superwash merino, 20% silk. And I'm also using, it's called her Silky Twist. And I'm also using this one, which is called Pampas, which is also her Silky Twist. But it's just an undyed. So I have got to that's where I was when I started this again, and I have now got to, I've just increased, can you see the yarn overs? I've just increased my, I don't know how many increases it is, but it's my second to last increase. The next one is the big increase. So I'm on this section for quite a while now. So this is 265 stitches or 61 stitches, something like that. 266 maybe. And yeah, this is so pretty. So I'm really looking forward to having got the other one done. I'm looking forward to getting this one done too. And I've gone straight into doing this because apart from the fact it is a languishing whip, and I'm trying to actually finish some of my whips that I've started and not finished. I actually really want this. It's such a pretty thing. And I have decided I am going to leave this absolutely pristine, not wear it, and this is going to be worn next year at my daughter's wedding. My eldest is getting married next April, so this time next year. And I am going to use this. I've already kept a bag which I got from Taffety Mouse as the basis of my outfit, and this matches really well with it. So I am going to leave this once I've got it knit and wear this for Kate's wedding. Yeah, and I love it. So that's my very languishing whip. That, I mean, it was an accidental languishing whip. It wouldn't have been a languishing whip if I hadn't lost it. Not sure that's an excuse, but I'm going to leave this on my desk and untangle it before I get back to you. So that's day 2, shawl day. So day 3 is garment day, and that's hanging out in this lovely bag I got from Megan, who is a yarn dyer's daughter and the daughter of Kelly of Lay Family Yarn. She's a very talented bag maker, and I have a new cast on. So I'm going on a Lay Family Yarn retreat, and I'm staying with some friends, and we're all, I'm not quite sure how it came about, but we're all knitting love notes basically, which I had planned on knitting anyway, so it just went up the list a little bit. So that's the love note. It's a pattern by Tin Can Knits. Can't tell you much about it yet, because other than it's very size inclusive, because I am currently only on a tiny little bit of the cast on. So I'm using this lovely blue yarn, which Laura, who is Crafter's Balm, a lonely knitter, and in fact has Bumbling Yarns, so this is one of her yarns, dyed especially for me, bless her. She was very kind and she gifted it to me, and I love this blue. So pretty. And I mean, I haven't got much to show you right now. You do a provisional cast on, which this is DK. I really didn't think this through. This is DK. I provisionally cast on in 4-ply. Why would I do that? But never mind, I'm sure it will all sort itself out. So I'm literally just started out with the band. I thought for a minute I had managed to twist it. I haven't, and I'm doing the same method with this as I do with my socks. I'm using 2 circulars because I could only find very long cords, so I was like, do you know what, just 2 circular, it's just as easy. And this is a Knit Pro Symphony, and that is a Licky needle, and they're both 6mm. Did I gaze to watch? No, I didn't. Should I have done? Yes, I should, because this is DK, not fingering and floof held together. So yeah, on my own head be it if this is wrong. What I might do is go down to the where you do the yoke and where you're going to do the sleeves, so you've joined it in the round, and I might go back up and put the neck on at that point, and do the sleeves, because that's what I do, just to make sure it still fits. But I think because it's a provisional cast on, even if it's big and baggy, which I kind of want it to be anyway, I haven't gone for as much positive ease as the pattern says, but equally I think it will end up with it anyway. As long as the neck fits, and because you're doing that afterwards, you should be able, thank you Alexa, you should be able to do it. I don't think I'll have a problem, but we will see. And this is designed for me to wear over strappy dresses. Seriously, this is designed for me to wear over strappy dresses, over leggings, which tends to be my look. So I'm not going to have it super long. And yeah, it doesn't matter if it's very open at the top because it'll be over a dress. But yeah, that's it. It's really not. It's just a little snake of a cast on. So the day that was garment day last week, so the way the rotation works, they all fall on different days of the week in different weeks. So the day that this fell on this week, I was out in the car a lot during the day, so I worked on my socks, and then I just did this when I got home. I was very tired in the evening, so I didn't get an awful lot done, but I'm loving this yarn. You see the pops of darker blue in it. So pretty. I will also probably helical knit this at some point, but not yet. Yeah, really enjoying this. Hopefully next week you'll see a lot more progress on it, but I think, what's today? Today's shul day, so tomorrow's garment day. Tomorrow's Saturday. I might actually get quite a lot done on that this week. That would be good. Oh, I might just treat myself to just sitting down and doing that, because I think I'm here on my own tomorrow. That's going to be fun. And yeah, so that's day 3, garment day. So day 4 is small items day, and that's hanging out in my little Valentine's bag by Craft House Magic. I love this bag. I'm going to have to work out how to wash it, because it had an accident with some coffee. Not my accident, I hasten to add. Someone else's accident with the coffee. And this is housing my colourwork project at the moment, which is the Varia Mitts by Erica Huser, and I am using this yarn, which is by Felt Fusion and is Hedgewig. I'm using this yarn by Gamer Crafter, which is Gear Wars. I'm using this mini, which I dyed, and this is what I'm making. Now, having finished this, I'm regretting my colour choices. I really wish I'd have done for a darker brown. And even with the magical way I've shown you how I check if it's got enough contrast, it's not that contrasty. But anyway, I will show you what it looks like. Bear with, because one of them's finished. So I've got a hoe. I have a hoe. So the best way to show you, I haven't done my ends, so there is ends hanging out all over the place. Let me get that end out. Right, there we go. So that's the palm. I mean, that's nice and contrasty, isn't it? And that's the owl. Oh, actually, he's showing up really well on camera. Oh, it's not so bad. So that's my owl. Isn't he lovely? So pleased with this. So pleased. So these are fingerless mitts, which I find quite useful. I can type and knit in fingerless mitts, which is great. And I'm going to have a pair of owls when I get around to doing the other one to keep me company. Now, I don't think these have taken me that long, to be honest. I think I've struggled with this a bit more than I should have done, because I love colour work, and this side is really intuitive, but that side, that no two rows are the same, and it's double row colour work, so you don't get any rest rows or anything. But it's well worth it, isn't it, when you see him? He's saying hi. And that's where I was last week when you saw these. So I did do great guns with them this week. I've even done the thumb. But yeah, very pleased with these, and the fit is beautiful. There's a really lovely fit on them. So yeah, really pleased. So that's the Varia Mitts, and as I said, it's a pattern by Erica Huser, who I think it's a fairly new pattern, but she also was the designer behind the Songbird mitts that I made as well. I want to make another pair of those as well because they're so pretty. But yeah, so that is my day 4 at the moment, and I'm cracking on with my Varia mitts. So day 5 is my mystery blanket, which is the Mystery Blanket Club by Debbie Abrahams, and this is currently 2019, I think. And that's hanging out in my bags by Awesome Granny Swan Lake bag. And this is the project I nearly stalled on this week and nearly didn't do it. I kind of made myself do it because there are other blankets I want to work on more, but equally I want this as a finished object, and the only way that's going to be a finished object is if I actually finish it. And I am on the last square of the second strip, and I have got some of the other squares of other strips done, so I just need to crack on. And this is it, and I was there last week, and this is actually a really intuitive square. Now I've made my bobbles a lot smaller than on the pattern because I'm not the biggest bobble fan and I prefer small delicate bobbles. This is horrendous. This is absolutely horrendous to knit with. It has got lycra. No, not lycra. What's this stuff called? It's not lycra. Lurex. That's it. This has got Lurex in it. And mohair. And it's not the softest mohair. This is, what are you called? You're not felted tweed. Felted tweed is soft. You're not soft Jack DK either. Kid Classic. So this is Rowing Kid Classic. And it's, what are you? 70% wool, 22% mohair and 8% polyamide. And it's really not that soft. Add this stuff in, which is really scratchy. It's really not pleasant. And I mean the finish, this is really scratchy. Now annoyingly I've already done one with this in, and I'm really tempted the next time I wouldn't do the Lurex with it, because it's very pretty, but it is really scratchy. There's another one with it in. That one, it's really delicate the way it's done with these are done with like drop stitches, which you then pick up with the beads, which is really clever. And it's not so bad because it's not so scratchy because it's not all over, and I really like that look. That's really pretty. But yeah, these ones I am regretting putting it in, and I won't do that again. I won't put that in the next time. I mean, I will in this blanket because otherwise it won't be a balanced blanket, and I want it to balance. But I wouldn't, in subsequent blankets, I wouldn't use it. And also, it won't stay on the ball, so you just end up with this massive tangle. And not only do you end up with a massive tangle, it tangles on itself. So you have to, like that. So you have to spend loads of time untangling it. Yeah, not my favourite thing to knit with this stuff. Wouldn't do it again. I think I'd have to find an alternative. Anybody got any ideas for alternative Lurex? Let me know. Because I like the sparkle, but obviously don't like all. Can you see? This is what it does. You spend as much time untangling it. I mean, luckily it untangles quite quickly, but you do spend as much time untangling it as you do knitting with it. So yeah, not my idea of fun, I have to say. It's very sparkly, but probably wouldn't use it again, if I'm honest. But I love this. I mean, it looks pretty when I've got it done. And I do want to get it finished, so it's just a question of when it is Mystery Blanket Day, of just cracking on with it and getting it done. As I said, I'm on the last square of the second strip. Once I get that strip finished, which hopefully will be this week, I want to block it so I can sew it to the first square, because I think if I do that it might incentivize me to crack on with it and get it done, because it's 7 by 7, so I'll only be like one strip off the middle strip, and then obviously once you've done the middle strip you're on the home run, so I just need to get on with it. And I really want it. I want it for Christmas. It's a Christmassy, it's called Winter Wonderland. It's sort of a Christmassy blanket. So if I got my act together this year, I would have 2 Christmas blankets for Christmas this year. But I have a feeling I probably won't be having one of them at least. Right, so that's day 5, mystery blanket day. So day 6 is blanket day, and I alternate 2 blankets. I was alternating a habitation throw in Woolly Goodness yarn with my friendship blanket. I've now finished my friendship blanket, so I have chance to put a different blanket into the rotation, and I did consider casting on a new blanket because I was really missing my cozy memory blanket. But then Lone, who is a Lonely Sock Lady, was chatting with me and made me list all my blankets that I've got that are whips, one of which is the Stitch in Time blanket, which basically is a cozy memory blanket but just with a different construction. So I thought I would get on with that. Now the Stitch in Time blanket is a lovely pattern, it's really clever, and is being created by Kay Jones of Bakery Baz. And this is how big I'm going to do mine, which is 3 by 4, so it's 12 squares, which I think is a good size for just hanging around the house and going over knees and things, maybe even a car blanket. And I am using all my Hedgerow yarn minis, and I love this. Also, a very dear friend of mine, Anne of Busy Pottering, is doing a northeasterly in Hedgerow yarns, and I normally send her my leftovers, so I haven't done that for a little while, and I thought, and if I get on with this, let me show you the ones I've done, and then I'll show you the one I'm working on. This is just like the prettiest thing. So this bag is a bucket bag from Mrs. Brown's Bags, which I got a couple of years ago now, and look how pretty that all looks in there. I love it. So let's have a quick look. So these are my squares, that's one of them. And as you can see, I'm using this bright pink, which was also from Hedgerow Yarns. I'm sure that wasn't as a single. Very pretty. So that's one. I've got little hedgehogs in the little stitch markers in the corner, so I know which is the right way round. That is 2. Not quite sure why I haven't sewn my ending on that one, but I didn't. It's really pretty, isn't it? And this is number 3. I haven't sewn the ending on that one either. This is number 3. Love Hedgerow yarns. So that's those, and then this is the one I am doing at the moment. So that's my current little mini. And the other day when I started this, so that's the corner one, so that's got the corner, it's got my little rainbow sheep on, which I need to move and put on my rainbow socks. And then these ones are the 2 that I did. I think there's a 3rd one, yeah, I did that one as well. So I did that one, and that one. I love that one. And I just cast on for this one. So it's really clever the way it's made, and I'm really enjoying my squares. So I've got 3 and a half done for out of my 12. So hopefully now this is in the rotation it will get done, but it's so pretty. It's going to be lovely when it's finished. It's going to be a right summer blanket. I do love it. I love it a lot. And this is the edging. I don't want to make it too much bigger than the 12 because I'm not sure how far my edging is going to go, because that's all I've got. I don't know whether Jane from Hedgerow Yarns will be able to dye me any more, so for the moment I'm going to stick with that and see how I get on. But I do absolutely love it. It's so pretty. And this is the little needle cozy that my needles go in. So that's from Craft House Magic. And really, because it's got a heart on it, should be with my Valentine's bag, but and judging by the coffee stain, probably was at some point. I've probably swapped them over. But do you want to see the minis I've got in here? Would you like to? Would you like to see the ones I've got to come? What do you think? Right, so that's my main colours. Ooh. And I've got a lot more hedgerow minis than what is in here, but these are the ones I'm going to be working on for the moment. I have this blue one. I've saved this to the moment because I want to do a bluer block. And then I've got these two. I'm not using the plainer ones, so that one I will fish out. I'll probably use for heels, toes and cuffs on something, but I will use that pretty one. So this is from set 34. And then I've got this one again. I won't use that plainer one, but I will use these ones, which are really pretty, and that's set 35. And that's upside down, Sharon. At least show it the right way up. Be a good podcaster. I think that's it for in here at the moment. Yeah, that's it for in here at the moment. I've got a Ninja Chickens pin. I need to put that on my badge banner at the back there. I shall point that out. And that's Mrs. Brown's card. So yeah, so I'm loving working on that, and it's every week there's one project that comes out that I'm like, I just want to work on this, and this is it at the moment. But also I'm looking forward to going back to my habitation throw, so I will do that. That will be next week's blanket. So the next rotation will be that one. Right, so that's day 6, blanket day. Next up is my square a day, and that is hanging out in my Busy Pottering seaside bag. And is a tangle. And my working bag is my Craft House Magic autumn bag. I might have to treat myself to a Craft House Magic spring bag for this. But so this is my Christmas square a day, and I am doing a granny square Christmas blanket. So this is the current, ooh, there we go. This is the current strip. Now some of these you've seen, but I'm leaving that one on so I know that that's the end, and I don't try to join it that way because I've done that before. So these are all the Yarn Lab minis. They weren't particularly Christmas themed, but I liked the colours, so I have actually kept them for Christmas. Did I bring the rest of them down? I did bring the rest of them down. Hold on. So it was this set, which is Sleeping Murder, Deli, Prettiest Spell in the World, Poppies and Cornflowers. What I really need is some wool, and I've got Fans to Thrill. And it's, yeah, the Yarn Lab DK UK. And these ones I thought they were nice spring colours, so I haven't put those in my blanket. I've fished them out, and they're just living in with my minis. But these two colours I thought were quite nice for the Christmas blanket, so I've bought them out and I'm using those. So this would have been, this is Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Sunday, Saturday, Friday. So this is all this week. Having said that you've seen some of these, you haven't. This is all this week. Yeah. So the idea is I do 5 of that colour and 5 of that colour. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4 of this colour and 3 of the other colour. So I'm nearly halfway through. And then I do, so that's as many as I can get out of a 20 gram mini. And then I do another couple on the end until this is 20 squares long. So eventually the blanket will be 20 by 20. So that's 400 squares. And I'm ahead of the check-ins because this is a whip when whips are allowed in my square a day. And yeah, I am thoroughly enjoying this. I just do a little 5 round granny square and I swap it round each round. So I do around that way round, then turn it over, do around that way round, turn it over, do around that way round, so that it gets a very square square, which it does. And when they're sewn in together, they look very square. And I'm doing a little This is just a little single crochet join where I join them both together, so you get like a little raised, almost gives it a quilted effect. So I'm joining each one as I go, and then once I've got a finished strip, I join the whole strip on. And I'm using, the grey I'm using is this grey from Yantan Tetherer, which was appropriately called Silver Bells, and is coming apart at the seams. And there we go. I am also creating a magic knot ball with my leftovers, because I do have a little bit left over, not a huge amount, but I do have a little bit left over. And I'm going to do a crochet corner to corner blanket with my leftovers. And also I've started, where is it, knotting my ends into a little magic knot ball as well, because I thought I might start with this, because with the corner to corner one you'd end up with a block of colour, so I thought if I made 2 of these I could start and end with it, so that you get like more of a small pops of colour. That may or may not work. I have kept all of my ends for this. No, that's my stitch markers. So at some point when I'm bored I'm going to knot all the rest of these into here, but I'd only started thinking of this recently, so I am knotting as I go now, but I do need to add these all in as well. It's going to be a very good job for one of those days where you really don't want to knit or craft, but you want to do something. And because this bag has got pockets, it's fab. So my crochet hook's in this pocket with my scissors and my needle. So that's my crochet hook. I'm using a 3mm clover crochet hook. Yeah. And then that pocket has got my stitch markers and my ends in. And then the main pocket has all my yarn and my working strip. So that way I can keep the blanket in my main bag. My blanket lives in there, so I don't have to keep pulling that out every time I want to grab my working yarn. That bag also has pockets, so this is a fab bag too. It's got a big pocket at the bottom there, and then smaller pockets at the top, and it's got an internal hook where I've got an Oceans bag. So all in all, these are very good for housing my big blanket project of the year, and it just normally grows out of this in time for me to go to my Christmas bag one, which is a lot bigger. So anyway, that's my square a day. Happy mail! And I have got some happy mail this week. First of all, I got my Lay Family yarn. I've just knit April. May must be up there. These are June. And it's going into blues, which is my favourite colour. So it's greeny blues and teals. Very pretty. Looking forward to using these ones. Oh, they're lovely. So this is this month's release and is for June. Oh, so much fun. I love them. And then do you remember me saying last week that I treated myself because it was a bad week, and when you have a bad week you buy yarn, and I'm really trying not to do that at the moment, but I had no willpower at all last week, and my West Green Loft Yarns minis from last week was part of that, and the other part of that was from Elderflower Stitches. So if I can just move her beautiful ribbon for a moment so you can see her logo. This is the lovely Susie, and this is her spring sorbet bundle. Yeah, it had to happen, didn't it? I just loved these. And funny enough, I kind of resisted, and then I was like, do you know what? No, I'm getting them. I couldn't. Resistance was futile. Oh, they are so pretty. They're so pretty. So this is the lovely Susie, who is Elderflower Stitches, and I can't help thinking they're going to make some lovely scrappy socks. So that was that one. Then also I had a surprise. I ordered the West Green Loft Yarns used to do a mini club, and then I think last year she didn't do minis, but she did just sock sets, so I didn't do last year's. I hadn't realised that this year she was doing minis again, and I treated myself to the April club. But I'd forgotten I treated myself to the April club until they came through the door. If you haven't had your April West Green Loft Yarns Classic Sock Minis, please look away. If you have, what you want to see. Again, how me is these colours. Oh, I'm just thinking spring blankets, spring socks. Oh. However, these colours are perfect for my Battenberg blanket, so which is supposed to be my square a day for next year, or later on this year if I get my Christmas blanket finished. But oh, so pretty. I love these colours, they're so calming. I love Vicky's palette. There is a reason that you tend to see Sherry, Vicky and Lay Family Yarn a lot on my podcast. It's my colour house, my wheelhouse. And right, on a side note of that, I did a de-stash last week, which was really successful. Thank you so much. There are a few little odds and ends of minis left if you're interested. However, I am going to go through another one of my cubby holes. So I went through that cubby hole on the end, which you can't see, but it's actually a lot, there's as much in there now, and did a de-stash. I'm going to go through another cubby and do another de-stash. It'll either be before you've seen this, in which case I apologise, or it'll be Monday next week. I'm thinking of trying to do them on a Monday, because and they'll be every kind of other week, which I know is annoying because of postage costs, and I'm really aware of that, but I can't put it all up in one go because that's too much work. So I will be de-stashing quite a few single skeins and sock sets. Won't be any like mini bundles in this next one, because I haven't got any leftovers left. They're all the ones that are like leftovers, are like grab bags, are gone. I think I've got one. I've got some minis on my windowsill that I'd forgotten about when I did it, so they might go up. But yeah, I've got I'll have another de-stash. So I have a dedicated de-stash account, which is SCL1TNO de-stash, on Instagram if you're interested. If you're not on Instagram and you're interested, could you let me know and we'll try and work something out. Try and work out where else you can see it. However, also, if you're not on Instagram but you are interested, you can go on Instagram. You don't have to be registered to be on Instagram. If you message me, I can put sold on it for you and do it that way. However, obviously I can't guarantee that somebody else isn't going to get in there in front of you. I did have a couple of things where somebody else got there first. And the way I run my de-stash is, once you've paid for it, I will archive that listing. So if you see the listing disappear, don't worry, it's just that I know it's been paid for and I've taken it down. I've got one at the moment where I'm waiting to hear from someone. I haven't heard from her yet. So hopefully if you're that person and you're watching this, could you drop me a message, please? And then if it hasn't sort of sold by the next de-stash, if I'm doing them every couple of weeks, I will, I'll put it back on again. But hopefully that won't happen too much. It was a very successful de-stash. Thank you very much. You paid for my Sherry Iris advent calendar. And that's basically what I'm doing. I'm using yarn I know I'm never going to use, and it's gorgeous yarn. I mean, there was a fair amount of indie dyed yarn in it. Yarn I'm never going to use, can go to a new home to people who will use it, and has paid for me to have 2 advents. I bought the Fibre Fox, her advent, and Sherry Iris with it. So I put down a deposit on Sherry Iris. I haven't actually paid the whole thing. So yeah, it's a very successful de-stash. Right, so that's the end of the yarny bit. I have, however, got a couple of bits of journaling happy mail. So the lovely Rachel of So Remy has done yet more journaling packs, and this is a spring one. And I thought I'd just give you a quick look through. which I did before. So it comes wrapped in some notes wrapping paper. And it's got all sorts of lovely bits and pieces in it. So I'm just going to quickly hold them all up so you can see them. I like this. It's got, oh, this is the first time I've looked through it, so if I pause it's because I'm admiring something. So it's got two little Aprils. That's useful. That's a carrot, a flower, some butterflies, a lovely bee, smile, another flower, another flower and a bee. These amazing calendars, which are brilliant as trackers. I'm using mine to colour in when I work out. A daffodil. Oh, a bunny. Say hello to spring. I'm definitely going to have a spring themed page coming up, I think. Watering can. Tulips. I can't remember the name. You're all yelling at me, aren't you? A couple of butterflies. A banner. And some honeycomb. And then there's always this little envelope, and I love these things for just using paper clips to hold things into my journal. And oh, we have got a very posh wax seal saying never stop dreaming. A little dragonfly, and then little stickers. That's a little sticker, and then these little hexes, which I just decorate my pages with and often put round the corners of photos. So yeah, that's lovely. Now I've just finished one of mine, and I think I'm pretty much through my second one in my journal. And I want to cut up a few bits and pieces, because that whole tower, which you can't see, I've got a whole tower there, it's all full of ephemera, but it's in its kind of raw form. I need to make things with it. And she makes these lovely envelopes as well, and obviously you can use the envelopes too. I mean, you can use your envelopes in your journaling, but I'm thinking because I send out prizes and letters from the podcast, I might just keep them for that, so I can put pieces of paper in them. They'd be quite nice with that. So it sort of comes with a little bow on it. And then this other one, if I can show it to you without my address, I love the fact that it's all designed. This is from, oh, let's get it all out. Now, it was actually really prettily wrapped. I'd unwrapped it all and was starting to cut it up into sections when I remembered I needed to show it on the podcast, or I wanted to show it on the podcast. So I thought I'd show you what I've got. Now, this is from Hillside Designs UK, who is called Sarah, and she's very sweet. It's a lovely thank you with my name on the top. Isn't that lovely? So these are stickers for my journal. So I have got workout circles, so I can put that on my the day, rather than, so the tracker goes on my month page, but this will go on my day page. I've got checklist boxes, which I've got on my page anyway, but they're just pretty. So I thought they'd decorate it. Daily step count, which I always write, but got somewhere pretty to write it now. Then she also had a spring love weekly kit. So that's sheet 1. So these are all stickers. That's sheet 2. That's sheet 3. And then also there was a meal planner. So if you can think about, it looked like that, okay, and it was for meals, but I started chopping it up so it fit in my box that I've got for these. So then you've got a meal planner, so you can plan your meals. which is cool. So I've just started, as I said, chopping those up so they fit in my box. But yeah, so that's Hillside Designs, and she's got loads of lovely stickers. There's all sorts of like workout and cycling and all sorts of stickers. So I treated myself to some of those to use in my journal, which I can actually use now that I've shown you. This is the problem with Happy Mail. I kind of dive into it and then I'm like, oh, I actually wanted to show that on the podcast. So that was wrapped really prettily before I dived into it. So that's it for Happy Mail this week. So news from the knitting project this week. Good question. Have I got any news? Well, it's been a very long working week. It's very difficult to have news, isn't it? I had a special project that went late evenings, 2 nights, so that was tiring. It was Katie's birthday. Now Katie is my eldest, bless her, and she was 27 yesterday, and I can't quite believe that. It's like I don't know where those years have gone, bless. But yeah, that was a good day, and we made homemade pizza, and I'd made her a birthday cake. There will be a picture of the birthday cake coming up. There will not be a picture of the homemade pizzas because that's just chaos. When there is 7 of us making pizzas, it's absolute chaos. Yeah, but she had a lovely day anyway, which is good. We are currently trying to clear out some rooms, so that's fun. It just means it's just chaotic around here. I can't think of anything else for news, so I'm going to give some love to people. I've been mentioned on so many lovely podcasts recently, and I'm just catching up with watching people. So podcasts I watch include, but are not limited to, because I always do. This is why I very rarely do this, because I forget. So I'm going to grab my phone, have a look at my watch list, and make sure I don't forget everybody, because I'm dreadful at this. As I said, this is why I don't tend to do this very often. So Giddy Knits, who is doing daily vlogs at the moment, and also has her own podcast and is a yarn dyer, and is a very good friend. Love hers. Bunny Pish Crafts, my lovely friend Sherry of Sherry Iris, I have just noticed has a new episode out, so I will be watching that later. Corner of Craft, Ruth Loves to Knit, going through them all. Sandy by the Lakeside, Tales from Cookie Land, the lovely Gainer, Lay Family Yarn, So Unique, The Crafty Toads, Tea and Possibilities, Tales from the Midnight Diary. I absolutely adore Gemma. Wolverine, Willy Wolverine Knitting Podcast, Tracy of the Comfy Red Couch. I watched The Last Homely House, which isn't really knitting but is just worth a watch in general. The Lonely Knitter, L&S Crafts, I love her podcast. Sandra Paul, so that's Cherry Heart, Spring Snowflake. As I said, this is why I don't do this, because I forget. Craft House Magic, another favourite. I think somebody is deciding to do the dishwasher. I can hear noises in the background. Green Lambkin Fibre. Bex Creates. How can I forget Bex? Bless her. She's the lady who donated a sock pattern to our podcast last week. I think I'm there at the moment. Ruby and Rose's Knitting. Oh, Lavender and Loops, and she also does Lavender and Leeks if you're into gardening. That's a really good podcast. Can I just say I'm really sorry if I forgot Stitch by Mrs. D. How could I forget you? Honestly. Little Drops of Wonderful and This Little Wonderful Life. And yeah, I think that's it at the moment. I'm sorry if I've forgotten anybody. I watched Jules the So Sweet Violet, honestly. So Remy, off the top of my head now. I spent half my life watching podcasts. I watch them first in the morning whilst I am crocheting my morning square, and I'll watch them in the evening after we watch some telly together, and then I normally come in here just to journal and stuff afterwards. So that's when I'll watch the rest of them. So I shall be watching Sherry this evening. I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to tell you, to be honest. I have got my second jab coming up. That's happening on Saturday. I got in on a waiting list of if there was any cancellations or they had vaccine left over at the end of the day, and that means my second one is due. So that's happening Saturday. And now the coffee machine's going off in the background. I think that's my cue. Oh dear. I definitely think that's my cue to stop rambling now, because, you know, the family are getting noisy. So I hope you're all okay wherever you are. Take care, and I will see you next week.